Welcome back. It's good to see you again. And we're going to now start our second pitch session this morning. And our European journey continues. We are going to be going to Ireland, to Spain, and back at the end of the morning to the Netherlands. So it is going to be the same procedure, one pitch of 5 minutes, questions with the jury, 5 minutes, and we will then be getting the jury will then be making their marks and notes directly after the pitch has been completed. So we've got 3 pitches this morning, and we will have again this afternoon 7 pitches, of course, the exciting pitches, the top medtechs in Europe today. So let's go now to Ireland, where we are going to meet the CEO and co-founder of Fieldtech. We're going to meet Andrew Cameron. Andrew, good morning.
Good morning, Alison. How are you?
Oh, very well, thank you. And you, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
Okay, ready to pitch.
Yep, if I can, yep.
Gr-
So hello everyone, my name is Andrew Cameron and I'm the CEO of Fieldtech. So today I'll be telling you about how we're using connected health technology to disruptively improve wound care. But firstly, I want you to imagine having a wound on your leg for 30 years, treated but never healed. For some people we've talked to, this is reality. This is the problem of venous leg ulcers. These painful chronic wounds affect 11.5 million people globally each year. While most don't take 30 years to heal, 30% of ulcers don't heal within a year. The average cost of treating a venous leg ulcer in Germany is €8,660, 80% of which is related to the nurse's time. And these wounds are consuming €14.9 billion in healthcare spending across Europe each year. This is despite the availability of a gold standard treatment. Compression therapy. The ability of compression to restore venous flow is essential for effective healing. In fact, studies have shown that there's a linear relationship between the pressure applied and healing rates. However, currently, there's a 90% failure to achieve targeted pressure in clinical practice. Non-compliance rates are up to 80% in community settings. And in the last 5 years, the number of venous leg ulcers in the NHS has doubled, while healing rates have decreased by 20%. Essentially, hospital systems are unable to cope with the prevalence and lack of trained personnel. To address these unmet clinical needs, Fieldtech has developed Titaride, the first connected health technology for measuring and monitoring compression therapy. The point-of-care solution includes a wearable pressure sensing device. A sensing arm goes beneath the bandage and an electronics clip remains outside. Pressure signals are transmitted wirelessly to a mobile app, ensuring consistent application of gold standard compression, thereby reducing healing times. A supporting digital platform enables remote monitoring, self-management, and digital optimization of care, thereby reducing workloads. Fieldtech's IP strategy includes a pipeline of patents aimed at protecting a leading position in the market for monitoring wound treatments. Based on preliminary data showing a 6-fold improvement in compression application, we predict a 30% reduction in healing time, a 34% reduction in patient visits, and a 53% reduction in treatment costs, as well as a significant improvement to the patient's quality of life. The initial addressable market is €1.4 billion in Europe and the USA. However, there's a significant future value to the data captured within the digital platform. The point-of-care technology is superior to any existing competitors, such as inaccurate tension indicators or impractical and expensive handheld devices, while the digital platform provides unparalleled capabilities to remotely monitor and optimize treatment. We're currently closing a seed round of €1.2 million for scalable manufacturing. This will be followed by future rounds of €2 million and €3.5 million to enter the US market as a Class 1 technology, followed by scalable launch in key European markets as a Class 2A technology. We've already commenced work with several high-profile key opinion leaders to support this. Break-even is projected by 2024. With 70,000 venous leg ulcers treated per year in 2026 and revenues of €25 million, an exit opportunity is expected based on deals comparable of €150 million. Our B2B model will sell a combination of hardware and software products to our target customers, who represent large, multi-site integrated care organizations, allowing for rapid scaling with value-based outcome reimbursement models. Our target users are delayed healing patients, and we're already developing strategic partnerships with multinational wound care companies for distribution. We have a highly experienced and well-rounded management team. I have a background in tissue engineering and research commercialization. Darren has a background in Medtech quality and R&D. Gary is Professor of Anatomy at NUI Galway, and Stuart has 20 plus years of commercial healthcare experience, including executive roles in numerous multinational wound care companies. Our advisors include a panel of internationally recognized and respected key opinion leaders in the clinical and marketing sectors of wound care. In summary, venous leg ulcers represent a large and growing market, providing an unsustainable economic burden to global healthcare systems and having severe impacts on patients' quality of life. At FieldTech, we have an ambition to realize the full potential of compression therapy through safety, efficacy, and empowerment, and we're very interested to talk to anyone willing to help us reach that ambition. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you very much for a great pitch. So we will now turn to the jury to take their questions. And we've got, first of all, Danielle. Is it Danielle? Go ahead.
Yes, it's Daniel.
Aidan,
Yes.
then Neil. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So thank you for the well-paced and well-explained pitch. It looks quite interesting. A question regarding your business strategy. Are you going to go through clinics and health professionals, or are you going to go at some point through consumers, through directly to the to the pain people?
Yeah, no, this will be definitely going through, I guess, the healthcare organizations and being prescribed by the doctors and nurses that treat these wounds. And we're going to be very selective about our initial customers. So we're sort of looking at integrated care organizations. So, for example, we're already working with the VHA and ProMedica in the USA. And the rationale behind targeting those organizations is that, like, quite often they have capitation models where we can use value-based outcome reimbursement models and target their health technology assessment committees. We then enable a profit margin increase for their own business model, and in doing so, we can then reap that reimbursement from those organizations.
Let's move to Simon.
Yeah, thanks again. Could you maybe just tell us a little bit about the placement? How important is it exactly where it's placed with the bandage and everything?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we have 3 pressure sensing regions within the technology, and they correspond to the physiologically relevant positions of the B, B1, and C positions. So at the ankle, just where the calf muscle meets the Achilles tendon, and then at the back of the calf muscle. What we actually anticipate is that the placement will happen on the lateral side of the leg. And the reason that we're saying it should be placed on the lateral side of the leg is that that's where there's most uniformity in the geometric anatomy. And that then reduces variability in the pressure measurements, in terms of the radius of curvature affecting the accuracy. So yeah, we have different arm sizes for different patients that allows for making sure that we hit those target regions which are clinically relevant.
Claudio, I think you have a question.
Yeah. So I would like to know, super interesting, how complicated is this to use? Do you need any training? And also, a pressing question, what happens if you use it wrong, if you do something wrong with this?
Yeah, so like in terms of training, for sure we have, the need to actually upskill the nurses on this, but we've found that, with a demonstration of about 5 to 10 minutes, these nurses are able to take it on board very quickly. It adds about 30 seconds to a treatment procedure, and the average dressing change would take about 30 minutes. So it's almost negligible. And for the time that you actually save in healing that patient quicker, and it's an extremely valuable process. I think that, we do anticipate this is something that will be very intuitive because it falls in line with existing patient pathways. We're already using a proven mechanism of action of compression therapy. What we're doing is helping to implement that correctly.
So the same risks that the conventional system. So no, nothing
Well,
different.
it should be reduced risk, because at the moment these people are doing it blind. And as I said, 90% of the time they're not hitting that target pressure. We do also, as our instructions for use, recommend that you do a check of the patient, for example, the pedal pulse test or the capillary toe test, to make sure that there is adequate arterial flow. But yeah, if there was any issues here with the patient, for example, not being able to tolerate it, it would be the same as any compression that's being applied. The patient should immediately take it off and then report that to their nurse. As I said, this is a class 1 device. We don't actually come in contact with the skin itself, so it's very safe.
Aidan, over to you, and then Nana. Quick
Hi, Andrew.
questions, please.
Hi, Andrew. I'm still interested in how it works. So what sort of testing have you done to show that you're getting the right pressure? You're only putting it on one side of the bandage, so or the leg, so it because of non-uniformity, you may be getting the wrong pressure where the ulcer is. And have you measured stuff like blood flow or any clinical measurements yet?
Yeah, so to firstly answer your question, we do extensive testing on benchtop models with different cylinder sizes of multiple dimensions. And what you actually have is an insertion of the leg dimensions into the app, which allows you to calibrate for different size legs in terms of that radius of curvature. So we then test that against
Andrew,
the predicate devices, and we've shown that that's extremely accurate.
Thank you very much. We've run out of time. Sorry to interrupt, but we have to respect the time regulations. Lovely. Let's now move to Spain. In Spain, we're going to meet the CEO and co-founder of the startup company Inicius. Inicius and Ruben. Hello. Good morning, Ruben. You are on mute, I believe, Ruben.
I don't think so.
We can hear you now. That's
Okay.
great. That's brilliant. Over
How
to
you
you,
doing?
Ruben. You have 5 minutes to pitch.
Thank you. Hey, this is Ruben Molina. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Initius, and we are developing a medical device, a point of care for threat and preterm labor assessment, and that means for differentiate between false and true preterm labor events. So just for giving you an example, imagine Anna, she has been pregnant for the last 6 months, and one afternoon, she starts feeling contractions and back pain, which are symptoms of delivering prematurely. So she goes to emergencies, and there the doctor, through the use of biomarker, must evaluate if she's actually a true preterm labor case, or this is what they call a false threat. The result of the test at Anna case was positive, so she get hospitalized and treated with corticoids and antibiotics. But what happened is that Anna didn't deliver within the following 7 days after the threat. So that was actually a false threat of preterm labor. This is something that is happening more often than we think, because every year more than 45 million of pregnant women get hospitalized and treated, but just 7 million of them will deliver. The rest of them, more than 38 million, will be unnecessarily hospitalized, unnecessarily treated, and after that discharged. But in the meanwhile, they get exposed to the side effects of the corticoids and antibiotics. They get exposed to pulmonary edema, hypertension, psychological trauma. The babies get exposed to pulmonary problems, intoxication. And Anna case, for example, is going to cost to the healthcare system more than 20,000 euros. If you make the numbers with Europe and the USA, you get that the economic burden associated to the problem is 1.2 billion of American dollars a year. And this is happening because the current biomarkers have a huge ratio of false positive cases. And this is our target. We want to reduce those numbers. We want to avoid unnecessary hospitalizations, unnecessary patient relocation, and unnecessary treatment of healthy pregnant women that nowadays are unnecessarily hospitalized. And we're doing it with this medical device that you can see here. It is composed by a screen where the doctor can see the result of the test and an intravaginal probe, which is our core technology. We have developed a new method called torsional waves for acquiring a direct measurement of the cervical tissue stiffness, which is a direct marker of imminent labor. We introduce this value into a machine learning algorithm with other variables of the pregnant women, and the output of the algorithm is a score plus a level of risk associated to that score. The doctor manages the patient according to the result and to their management protocols. We offer the device under two separate business models. The first one is you pay for the device one time, but you need to pay separately for the consumable and the maintenance, or you can just lease the device basically, and you get the device, the consumable, and the maintenance included there. We have validated our value proposition, intended use, pricing strategy, who is the decision maker, and willingness to use our device with more than 100 OBGYNs all around the world, but also with more than 100 additional face-to-face interviews at experts from the key global partners at the women's health space. The company was created 4 years ago by myself. I was doing the PhD on the technology together with Francesca Molina, who is a global key opinion leader on preaching labor. And we joined the team people like Todd Snowden, who has been more than 30 years on the medical devices space, and also people at the R&D part, clinical affairs part, regulatory affairs and quality assurance, and also at the business development part. Right now, until date, we raised 2.3 million euros. We completed the industrialization of the technology. We completed the ISO 13485 certification of the company, and we are in the middle of the clinical evaluation. And we are looking for a bridge round of $500,000 for a start with the transfer to manufacturing process and for completing and accelerating our clinical trial, the machine learning algorithm clinical trial. After that, we will need to complete to secure an $8 million round for finalizing the transfer to manufacturing, for completing the regulatory clinical trial, for getting the CE mark, and for access our beachhead market, Spain. After that, we will expand the company to Europe and the USA, and we will be ready to offer our actionable diagnostic to women's health. Women are waiting there for us, so just help us to get closer to them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ruben. Thank you for this super pitch. Great. Let's now invite the jury to ask their questions. Who would like to begin? Yes, Neil. Is it Neil or Danielle? Sorry.
No, it's Neil.
Neil, go ahead.
Por presentación. Impressive, thank you. Could you tell me a little bit about your intellectual property and whether you intend to organically grow the company, or are you looking at some point to be acquired by a large medical device company?
Yeah, we have already one patent that granted in USA, Europe, Australia, and Canada. And after the clinical trial, we will draft another one for the algorithm, for how we process the data. And our strategy in the future, we want to start selling the device here in Spain, creating our own sales force, creating traction on the technology, and after that we will see what happens. But our strategy is to grow organically, and after that, if somebody comes and try to make us grow faster, we are open to that as well.
Thank you.
Simon, your turn, then Nana.
Yeah.
And then Claudio.
Just a curiosity, when you've had your clinician feedback, how accurate or how certain do you need to be basically for them to say, okay, I will not treat the patient in terms of the preventative measures that they have today?
Yeah, what we do is not giving them an actionable 100% diagnostics. That was a discussion with the FDA at our QSAT. We offer them a score from 0 to 10 and a level of risk associated. So at the end of the day, they need to see the results, but they need to assess the patient and make the decision based on their experience.
Okay, but are you in the clinical trials going to kind of push towards this objective that, if you say that there's zero risk, in fact, it is, 100 out of 100 pregnancies that did not deliver after that?
This is going to be our second clinical trial result. The accuracy of the technology. Right now, we are basically collecting the data for building those algorithms. We have already tested the repeatability and reproducibility of the technique, and this is going to be the result of our second clinical trial.
Okay, Nana, and then Claudio.
Thank you so much. Brilliant. So love Internet of Medical Things market and those applications. My question is pretty simple. So do you manufacture by yourself the device first? And secondly, how is, not talking about safety, but the materials, what you use, how is from terms of the application, how is it safe and secure for women? Thank you.
Yeah, the first question was, sorry, Anna, the first part of the
In
question.
terms of the question was, do you manufacture the device by yourself, or you outsource the manufacturing and the cost?
Right now we do it. Right now we do it on in-house, but the strategy is to look for a external manufacturer, ISO 13485 certified, and we will perform the quality assurance of the device and the calibration of the device. And the second, regarding the safety of the technology, we already completed the normative test, the ISO that apply to our technology, and we designed the technology using biocompatible materials. So EMC is secure, electrical safety is secure, so everything is already done.
Yeah, I was thinking more in the terms of the recycling and biomaterials, but thank you so much. Quite nice.
Thank you.
Claudio,
Ruben, congrats. But I'm coming back to this algorithm and data. So I understand you haven't trained any algorithm because you haven't still got enough data. And also you have the 70%, let's say, false. And then which are your expectations in reducing this 70% to and how do you know? Because still you haven't got enough data. So.
We built our previous algorithm with 128 pregnant women, but not symptomatic pregnant women, asymptomatic pregnant women. And what we did there to test the algorithm was to predict the labor date, the week where they are going to deliver. And we had an accuracy higher than 90% predicting the date. So we think that if we get closer to the event, the accuracy is going to be higher. So this is our hypothesis. And regarding the second question, which is what was, Claudio?
Reducing the 70% false rate
okay.
that you have.
Yeah, we have, through the interviews, we validated that 50% of positive prediction value will be enough, but our expectation is to have at least 70% of positive prediction value and 97% of negative prediction value.
All right. Well, we're practically out of time, so we're going to have to end our very rich discussion there. Thank you very much, Ruben in Spain. And now let's whiz up to the Netherlands, to Rotterdam, where we are going to meet the CEO of the startup company Caminari Medical, Jerome Codet. Hello, Jerome. Good morning.
Hi, Alison. Good morning, and good morning
Hi.
to you all in the jury.
Very good to see you. And now the floor is yours. 5 minutes to pitch.
Okay, there we go. What if we could what if we could prevent 250,000 heart catheterizations, save patients' lives, and save 2 billion euros per year? With Caminari Medical, we are going to revolutionize the outcomes of heart catheterizations. Caminari, it literally meaning is God sound. It's Japanese for thunder and lightning. And with Caminari Medical, we listen to the flash of a laser that impacts the plaque in the coronary artery. Atherosclerosis, the leading cause of vascular disease. Worldwide, it affects 110 million people and causes 9 million deaths each year. So-called plaques block the coronary arteries and cause events varying from pain on the chest, cardiac infarctions, and death. Treatments are pharmacological, bypass surgery, and heart catheterization, stenting. Each year, around 4 million patients have to get a heart catheterization to open blocked coronary arteries. Nearly 500,000 of these patients need to come back to undergo a recatheterization if they manage to get to the hospital in time. In half of the cases, and at around 250,000, the patients have to undergo a recatheterization. The cause is the rupture of a so-called vulnerable plaque that was not properly diagnosed the first time. And the identification and treatment of the vulnerable plaques in the coronary arteries would prevent recatheterizations, save patient lives, and 2 billion euros per year. A vulnerable plaque leads to acute cardiovascular events and resulting in recatheterizations and, in the worst case, death. There are calcified plaques and vulnerable plaques are a stenosis or a blockage that consists of lipids and covered by a thin cap. And if that thin cap ruptures, the contents spill into the coronary artery and causes an infarction. Current heart imaging techniques cannot identify these vulnerable plaques properly. And 2 recent publications in the Lancet underscore the importance of identifying vulnerable plaque to improve the patient's prognosis. Traditional IVUS images only the plaque structure, but not what is in the plaque, the contents. Here you see a IVUS picture And there you can only see the plaque burden, but not the lipids. And the lipids are a very important characteristics for a vulnerable plaque. So IVUS alone does not give information on the vulnerability of the plaque, and this leads to insufficient diagnosis and treatment strategy. So what we do with Caminari, we show the lipids, and you can see the lipids here in the right picture, so we get a better assessment of plaques and also the ones that are not causing problems yet. We have better standing, we have better drug therapy, and a better clinical outcome. So our patent is technology in Europe, Japan, and it is patent in the US. And with a human life-size catheter, we already showed the proof of concept in a pig's model. The Caminari medical technology is superior to the competition across all key criteria, and these are optical OCT, IVUS, and NIRS, and we score the best on the key criteria: cap, thickness, plaque burden, and lipid content. Caminari Medical represents an outstanding commercial opportunity. If you look at the numbers, we can, at the end of the decade, we can have a projected revenue of 110 million euros and 22 million euro EBITDA. So all our objectives have been met to date. We scored 900,000 euro seed funding, and we are now looking for another 3 million for the first demand studies and the other 12 million to complete registration and the market introduction. And we go for the European MDR and an FDA 510K and also the Japan MDA registration. And with whom are we going to do it? We have a full team, and we have Professors Tom van der Steen and Gijs van Soes, who have a legacy in bringing imaging technology to the clinic. Ferry Daichin, he is our CTO. He's has a PhD in this technology, and I have a 25-year experience in strategic consultant and in the medical device industry. And we are supported by a team of clinical, scientific, commercial, and financial consultants. So if we look at Caminari Medical, it's a de-risk technology expected to revolutionize the coronary artery imaging. And we have a clean and strong IP position. The proof of concept has been obtained. It is reimbursed. We have a seasoned executive team with a track record of delivery, straightforward clinical and commercialization strategy, a first exit opportunity after 2 years' time, and comparable exits of around 100 million euros. So with our Caminari Medical coronary catheter, we will be able to prevent a huge number of recatheterizations, prevent unnecessary death, and save society more than 2 billion euros annually. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jerome. Another great pitch. Well done. Great job. Let's now listen to the jury to have their questions. Who would like to begin? Simon.
Hi, Simon.
Hi, thanks very much for the pitch. When I was reading through the documents, something I noticed was that you were heating the lipids, and I just wanted to understand, to what degree and whether this could actually present a risk of rupture of the plaque.
If you have on one side you have calcified plaques and they contain calcium, and on the other side you have the vulnerable plaques, and that's a combination of necrotic cells, lipids, and also the location of the lipids in relation to the lumen. That gives you an indication of the cap thickness. So, and these are vulnerable plaques because if this cap ruptures, all the contents spill into the coronary artery. If you have a calcified plaques, these contents are fixed, but lipids, and necrotic cell, they get released in the circulation and cause a thrombus.
So just maybe to keep my question very short, the heating that you cause the lipids, it's extremely small. It doesn't cause any potential rupture issues.
No. It's absolutely no.
Okay,
it's just
fine.
a reaction of laser, and that gives an ultrasound reaction. It's a thermoelastic reaction.
So there's no additional risk compared to OCT or any other probe type technology?
No, because if you look at the other technology, NIRS, that's also laser-based, but with another frequency.
Let's go to Aidan, then to Danielle, and then to Nana.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, I'm just wondering, do you have any clinical evidence that it is going to improve outcomes yet?
The identification of vulnerable plaques, that shows that, especially the plaques that what you call the non-culprit plaques, if you can identify these, then the outcome, it's got a factor 2 less recatheterizations, and that has been shown in the studies that have been published in the Lancet.
Okay, but not with your device, though.
Sorry?
Not with your device.
No, because
we haven't shown it with your device yet.
Of course, yeah. But if you look at the technology of infrared-X, that is NIRS, and that's a similar technology, but they don't really identify tissue. You see that with their technology measurement, you see superior outcomes if you treat these vulnerable plaques.
Okay. Daniel, your question, please.
Yes. How does your equipment flow into the protocol, into the procedure for catheterization? Is it a separate piece of equipment, or can it be blended or integrated with the existing stuff? I mean, the catheterization is quite crowded. The amount of equipment they have. Is there room for another one, or are you going to integrate it with existing stuff?
Well, it depends on the kind of interventional cardiology lab you have. We can integrate it totally. So you have in a machine room, engine room, you have our equipment, and then you only have the catheter. But in other cath labs, they roll in the OCT and the IVUS, and we have a similar product. And in the workflow, we are the same. So if you do an IVUS, you replace our technology, because we do also have IVUS, but we add photoacoustics, and so that doesn't add any extra equipment.
Nana.
Thank you so much. So I'm wondering about the scalability model. What is your scalability strategy first? And secondly, what is the sensitivity of your device? So in terms of that, so I'm a cardiologist. I pretty understand this fantastic approach. So in terms of the identification, the plaques, so it could be, and then you have to teach also the personnel, so either technicians or cardiologists, invasive cardiologists, to use these devices. So that should be additional cost and approaches.
Well,
scalability and the sensitivity of your ultrasound application. Thank you.
With the ultrasound, we have the photoacoustic, and that's we can identify the lipids on its frequency. So what you saw is we have the traditional high definition ultrasound picture, and we have the overlay of the photoacoustic. So, and we can tune the sensitivity. And what we have seen in our animal studies, we have a very, very good relation to histology, because that is a ground truth. So we related it to histological samples, and there we saw a very good correlation. And the learning curve for the interventionalist is easy, because it's being based on an IVUS platform, and the clinical decision support that we give is a very simple picture that does also the quantitative measurement of the coronary arteries.
And what animals have you used? What animals have you used?
A pig, so it's size comparable. No.
Okay.
So we'll have to stop that discussion there. Thank you very much indeed. A very rich discussion, and this brings us to the conclusion of the second pitch session this morning. We've had now this morning 7 very powerful pitches, and let's remember who has pitched in the second section this morning. We had Ireland with FieldTech, who have developed the first connected health platform for monitoring compression therapy. After that, we went to Spain to meet Initius. Initius is a startup developing medical devices based on torsional waves in combination with AI for the diagnosis of conditions associated with tissue consistency changes. And after that, we went to the Netherlands, to Rotterdam, to meet Caminari Medical. Caminari Medical revolutionizes the results of heart catheterizations with a catheter that images these vulnerable plaques optimally. So we've had a lot to learn this morning. We are now approaching our lunch break. Please, on the hashtag EITH Catapult, we are very keen to receive your photos and your remarks. And of course, don't forget our network platform to make those appointments, to be able to meet up with startups, delegates, investors, whoever you like. We have a very exciting program this afternoon. We have 7 more powerful pitches coming along. We've got a talk, our expert insight, all around the legislation concerning software as a medical device, a sensitive area. And then, of course, later on, we'll give you the times this afternoon, and later on we will be concluding with our awards ceremonies. So stay with us, stay tuned, have a great lunch, and see you back here at 13:20 Central European Time. Enjoy your lunch.